Let's watch it. I'm curious.
Jesus. Your finger.
What just happened?
Of Switzerland, and there's a big festival going on.
The gun festival!
Everyone has the day off. They're all gathering to have a good time to celebrate guns. It's a shooting competition for teenagers, and they've been doing this for hundreds of years.
Hey,
yeah, it's a tiny little country, man. Of course, everyone's gonna have a freaking gun, G.
Schießen gegangen?
It used to just be boys, but now it's boys and girls, and the winner is deemed the king or queen of shooting.
Erstes Mal Knabenschiessen, gell?
Ja, das erste Mal.
Und gerade gewonnen?
Ja.
Wie fühlt sich das an?
Das fühlt sich sehr gut an. Ich bin wirklich stolz drauf.
Stolz drauf. Oh, so cute.
Switzerland is a peaceful, neutral country, and yet it is
yeah, they're neutral because they got all that money.
it's full of guns.
I can make
The
that joke.
government
I live
gives
there.
its citizens guns and trains them how to shoot. Every village is required to have access to a shooting range.
We have almost as many guns per head or per person here as in America.
Back home in the United States, we also have a lot of guns. But the culture around guns is a little different.
Can I just say something? Because I can say it. Switzerland is incredibly what is it called? Monocultural state. Homogenous, thank you, that's the word. And also very, very taxed, and it's a very, very small country. And they are hyper-nationalistic. You think that America's nationalistic? They are very nationalistic, too. They love Switzerland, man.
The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
The country of Switzerland proves that there's no need for more gun rules.
Guns the #1 cause of death among children in the United States, yet we don't have the will to stop it.
Switzerland has the lowest crime rate in Europe.
That's all we have at this point.
Is that Alex Jones?
I really want to get to the bottom of this gun culture thing, why these two countries have such vastly different relationships with guns. So I delved deeper than I usually delve.
Switzerland has also been, when did Switzerland unite all the cantons? 1292 to 1291. That's when Switzerland became a country, chat. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's also, America's only been around for a couple hundred years, man. Yeah, Switzerland's been a country for a while.
And found myself digging through old literature from Scottish political philosophers and looking into the constitutional archives, talking to Second Amendment experts, talking to military historians from Switzerland, and it's finally all clicked for me, and I want to share that with you. So, buckle up for what is going to be a wild ride through history and an adventure through Switzerland.
And also for those that don't understand, Switzerland used to hand out mercenaries back in like the 12 or the 1300s because they were such a well-kept mercenary state, and that's how they made their money. Yeah, before the cantons all were united under the Swiss banner, there was a lot of cantons that basically merked for other countries because they were really, really good at what they do. Yeah, the Landknecht or whatever it's called. Yeah, it's a fun fact. I know my history, man. I learned about this shit in school, man. It's pretty cool.
So, as a side note to this story, I've been finding a lot of bunkers in Switzerland, which, if you all remember, a year ago from right now, I published a video about all of the bunkers.
Oh yeah, fun fact, the building that I lived in, that was like a high-rise apartment building at one point. I didn't live there for like a long time. I think it was like a year or two. My parents lived in it, and it required to have a fucking bunker for nuclear, like, catastrophe. And it had to be checked once a year. And they notified the entire, like, high-rise as well. Every single house has to have a bunker in it, or something of that caliber.
Hiding in Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm here again, I find myself stumbling upon more and more bunkers. Anyway, I also want to tell you that my trip here to Switzerland and my ability to go around and shoot at shooting ranges and spend months diving into Swiss history is made possible because of our generous sponsors who come back month after month to support our journalism. BetterHelp, who's the sponsor of today's video, is...
Ooh, BetterHelp. Ooh. How old is this video? 9 months? Okay, you get a pass. Yeah, they didn't know.
A platform
Chad, they don't know yet.
That is making therapy more accessible to people. Normally what you do when you want a therapist is you like call around, you see if like a therapist has availability.
What does Swiss speak? They speak
here in the United States, you like check to see if like your insurance works with that therapist. You wait a few weeks, you schedule back and forth over the phone, and then maybe you see a therapist. And if they're not a good fit, like good luck, you have to do it again. With BetterHelp, you basically sign up, you fill out a survey.
They speak French, Italian,
with somebody
and
in their
German.
Giant network. They have a
They
huge
teach
network
German,
of
like proper
tens
German
of thousands
in
of
school.
like licensed therapists.
Because
They'll
Swiss
connect you with
German
one that they think is a good fit for you, and you can start communicating with them right away. You can talk by phone, you can talk by video chat, or you can just do like chatting back and forth over a text message. You get to decide that. If you don't like your therapist, you can change your therapist. I went to therapy not because I had a clinical diagnosis like depression or anxiety, but because
what the fuck do you mean? It's right next to
I'm
France,
a human
you dum-dum.
who has stressful things in my life and has a lot of inner
Geneva's
voices
right
telling
next to
me
France?
how I should think about myself, and some of those voices aren't very nice, and I
want
wanted
to speak
to
Swiss? No,
understand
not Swiss.
my
It's called
inner
Swiss
self and
German.
understand my mind and start to retrain it. That's what therapy is, and it has changed my life in huge ways. So I'm really grateful that BetterHelp is making therapy more accessible to people via the internet. There's a link in the description of this
European
video.
countries.
It is betterhelp.com/Johnny Harris. When you click the link, it tells BetterHelp that this ad is working and it supports this channel. And if you want to sign up for BetterHelp, you get 10% off your first month, so you can try it out at a discount, see if it works for you.
French speaking
and yeah,
half
give
and
therapy
more
try.
a German
Let's get back to
speaking
the
one.
video.
Yep. And
I'm
they
in
hate
beautiful
each other.
Switzerland
They
here,
do.
shooting guns and learning a lot about firearms. Let's go.
Oh boy.
There's the shooting range, and the targets are on this side. Oh yeah, there's the targets. Oh, I hear them. Holy smokes!
Where
they're
is
literally
this?
shooting over the road. Right.
I don't like that he doesn't say what place this is in.
There. Oh my god, there's people. Jeez, there are bullets flying over our head right now. Yep. Oh my god. That.
Damn!
That is such a weird feeling. Headed to a shooting competition right now at this shooting range, surrounded by.
Schießanlage Herdenbourgs in Burgen.
Beautiful Swiss mountains. The sound of these guns. My god, it's like a war zone.
They're just having fun, bro.
But it's only 6 rounds.
Yeah.
But it's single loaded, so you always have to.
You always have to cock it, yeah.
Then you can make the.
Switzerland is beautiful, man.
Yeah.
And you can even.
As I'm standing here, you realize like the cars are right there. You could easily shoot them if you wanted to, if you were standing up. Like I knew that this.
I'm gonna be honest, I think it's a little bit weird that they have a shooting range like this and there's cars moving. What if someone makes a mistake? Isn't that kind of like a safety hazard? Like, I know, hold on. Like, I'm not saying, oh, there's gonna be like some manic Swiss person. This is like for High trust society? That's not what I just fucking said. I said, what if they have an accident, bro? Why would you even have that risk? Why not just shoot out on a plain field where there's no one? Just don't make a mistake. Yeah, humans are perfect. You're right.
I saw the Tom Scott video a few months ago. I thought it was like there was one crazy shooting range in Switzerland that goes over a road. I didn't realize it was common.
That's boring. Yeah, you're right.
It's a friendly competition. It's all very wholesome. You see these young kids that are like keeping score, tabulating all of the results. I've been hanging out with the president of one of these shooting clubs, trying to understand.
It's a small country and they have to maximize their land. Oh my fucking god. Okay, yeah, you're right.
And
that's
a
why
little bit
they
better
do
about
it. I
what
don't think
this
so, but
event
whatever.
and things like this represent for these communities.
The military law tells all the villages that they need to provide a shooting range or a possibility to shoot.
After a while of observing this competition, they told me that it was my turn to shoot. But first...
It's funny because when I lived there, I didn't know about this. Genuinely. I had no idea this was a thing. I guess that maybe other places are more gun happy, I guess.
I needed to learn how to use one of these guns.
There's
We got the ammo, military provided at a discount.
Just try again.
So
you're right-handed?
Yep, I'm right-handed.
Okay. How do
Is there a telescope in there? Like, how am I
Yes.
seeing that far down?
No, there's no telescope.
There's no telescope.
No.
Oh, that's what makes it.
You're not
Oh, this is near Lucerne. Oh, this is pretty far. Yeah, okay, I understand.
allowed
This
to
is-
use any
Yeah.
any sights, any optics at any competitions in Switzerland.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you're gonna make sure I don't
good.
hit any of these cars.
Yeah.
No, sure.
Now you're not able to see any cars anymore.
Nope, no more
Okay,
cars.
so no more cars. No more problems about that.
Yes.
Maybe move.
I wonder how many accidents they have. I'm not saying this is like, I just think it's a bad idea.
A little bit further. Yeah. You ready?
Yeah, I think I'm ready.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Now it's loaded.
Hopefully not a lot, Chad.
Okay.
Hopefully not a lot.
Target 19.
Target 19. Here we go.
Very slow. Now you pulled all the way through.
Oh, I did. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. I forgot about
That's why
that.
This
normally
is cool,
we train
man.
how that works. But you hit the target.
I hit the target.
Yeah.
That's good.
Let's go!
Actually hit the target. That's good.
Oh, there we
Now
go.
we saw it.
I'm getting better.
Bam.
As I shot in my first gun competition, I was surprised that my instructor kept telling me to relax, to breathe, to turn inward.
Exactly.
Yeah, that felt
Now
way
we
more
hit
relaxed.
the 10.
Oh, there we go.
Here we go.
Wow.
Tiny little country in the mountains. I can't help but feel like it's kind of expected. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It's a tiny country in some mountains, man.
I turned
can invade
inward,
that
relaxed,
shit, but good
and I
luck.
hit the 10.
Yeah.
Sharpshooter
Yeah,
over
gun
here.
meditation.
Wow, this is addictive. I definitely see, I could do this all day.
So this is like relaxing or calming down for me. Sometimes I feel like going into another world. You turn your focus from focusing outside, you're focusing inside.
This is high tech. This is interesting.
This is fun. Objectively, this is just fun. And it's beautiful. I'm looking at the Swiss countryside.
They have a tunnel. Yeah.
My experience with guns as a kid, I would go out into the forest and blow up like glass bottles with shotguns.
That's what I think America is all about.
Well, I know stories from some boomers who said that in the 1960s and 70s when they'd go to school, and this is in Texas, by the way, and they just had trucks and they would bring their guns to school and put them in the pickup behind them and in the back and just leave it there all day. And then they drive home and or they go shooting or something. It's true. Yeah, this is not me making this shit up or this is just a story from a bunch of boomers that used to live in Texas.
Wow, that was.
And now they never do that.
I kind of want to shoot again. I never thought I'd say this. I'm not a gun person, but I'm I kind of want to shoot more. This is so fun. I was struck by how peaceful and celebratory and wholesome this all was. So much different than the way guns are presented in the USA.
Well, the other thing is that there's a very tight-knit community. You have to understand, when I moved there, it took like 5 years for my family to integrate into that society. When you immigrate to Switzerland, you have to stay in the same city, at least the same principality, for at least 5 years before they can even consider making you a citizen. At least that's when I used to be a kid. I don't know how it is now or how immigration works, but it's so tight-knit. You are considered a stranger up until like 10 years of living in the same town, essentially. They're super, I wouldn't say xenophobic, but like kind of like wary to outsiders. Even if you speak the language fluently, you work there, you're still a foreigner.
So how did we get here?
It's so pretty. I used to see this shit all the time, man. It's so nice.
The story of Switzerland starts here. Well, actually down there at that lake in a little green valley where a group of people came together and made a promise to each other 700 years ago. And with that promise came a myth.
What?
The hero's name was William Tell, and legend has it that one day he refused to bow down to the king's local leader. It was a daring act of disrespect.
Wow.
So as punishment, the overlord forced him to shoot an apple off his own son's head. Tell aimed his crossbow carefully and released. He made the perfect shot.
Yay!
He continued to defy the ruler and eventually inspired the tribes in this region to launch a rebellion. Tell eventually shot the ruler dead, and the rebels would go on to win their independence, banding together to start the confederacy that would become Switzerland.
Yep, I had to learn this in school. I went to school in Switzerland, and that's where I learned about this. They're very nationalistic. Insanely nationalistic. And then they also teach you the reason why a bunch of the cantons like united is because of like the outsiders and stuff. Like they're just super nationalistic.
They first made an agreement that they would protect one another. But instead of forming a full-time standing army run by a king, they would arm and train ordinary people to fight. So not
and they had great mercenaries.
An army at all, but rather a militia.
And people bought them.
I'm now going into a shooting range that is in the mountain, in a dugout bunker.
Wow.
Very Swiss. It feels like the old bunker days. Like exploring a bunker, but I'm in a shooting range. Mind-blowingly big. It's like a maze in the mountain.
This is cool.
With just a bunch of rooms shooting. Okay, so now I'm fully loaded. Safety off. I'm gonna take safety off.
Yeah, if you're on the target, and you want to shoot, you can take the safety off.
Okay.
Or not.
He's so knowledgeable too. Damn! Yo, I speak, but this guy speaks such good English too. What the frick? Damn, dude.
Shooting in the bunker is a completely different experience. Like you feel the vibration of your entire body because the echo is so extreme.
By the way, just so people don't get it twisted, I don't mean nationalistic in a bad way. They never ostracized or they were never mean to my family and other people that moved. It's just like, how do I explain it? You have to earn their trust. Yeah, like, they never had anything against people that moved. It's just like, you kind of have to, like, be part of their culture. You have to get to know people. You have to get to know neighbors. If you want to become a citizen in Switzerland, the entire council, there's, like, a group of people that decide whether or not they think you are a good enough citizen to join their country and become a citizen, even if you've lived there for 10 years. They judge your character. They like survey the people that know you from work, school, or your neighbors. Like it's pretty serious.
I'm getting better at shooting.
Yeah. I don't think that's a bad thing.
Oh yeah. Straight in. Yeah. Never shot before, right? 2 days ago I started.
A well-regulated militia. Here we go!
So back to 1600s Europe, where Switzerland remained this one peaceful confederacy protected by its citizen militia. Meanwhile, in the rest of Europe, greedy kings were using their huge standing armies to conquer one another, while Switzerland stood by training its citizens in the ways of war.
Well, it also really helps that you're literally a tiny little country with like a massive mountainous area protecting you from every angle. Like, I think the Swiss rolled a nat 20 on, like, in terms of geography. It is crazy hard to invade them, I imagine. Yeah, it's like a national fortress, like a castle.
Swiss citizens got so good at fighting that the Pope hired them as his personal protectors. Other empires would even hire Swiss soldiers to fight their own wars. But Switzerland itself remained almost entirely out of these conflicts on the continent. Eventually, European thinkers start to notice this peculiar Alpine confederacy, Switzerland, this place that trains their citizens to fight, and miraculously showed that you can have a republic, even in Europe, a sea of monarchy and kings.
A confederacy of...
I've been reading a lot of like old European political literature, and you start to see this phrase pop up to describe how Switzerland defends itself, using a well-regulated militia. I saw this term a lot when I was looking through this old literature. Around 6
Also a very homogenous militia, but, you know, neither here nor there.
And this British diplomat goes to Switzerland and gawks at their well-regulated militia, how they can overturn their government at pleasure because they all know how to fight.
And they love their democracy. Oh my goodness gracious me. They love their democracy. They tell you to... They start telling you and educating you about fucking politics, like internal baby... politics, you know, inside of the village or the town or the city or whatever, at like age 14, man.
By the way, back in like the 1600s, well-regulated militia meant like a well-organized or efficiently run militia, not like regulated in the way that we think of it today. But yeah, the idea was if you arm everyone in your society and you train them, that's actually the key to the best defense and the best preservation of freedom for the people, not just the king.
Yeah.
This idea of a well-regulated militia spread across the ocean to a group of British intellectuals who were secretly conspiring to overthrow their own king. In 1776, they declared independence, using their own well-regulated militia to fight off a tyrannical king and his standing army. As they fought this war, a leader from Switzerland wrote to Benjamin Franklin, suggesting that this new rebel experiment called the United States should become sister republics with Switzerland.
Wait, newborn sister republic beyond the Atlantic and forwarding an early connection, friendship, trade, and defensive alliance. No way! I did not know that, man! No way! I did not know Switzerland said that. That's sick. That's sick nasty, bro.
The Americans somehow won this war and got to work designing their new country. They sat down in a hot church-looking building to draft the document that would be the foundation of this experiment,
they're besties.
A system free of kings. The founders studied the political systems of Greece and Rome. They studied the British Magna Carta, Native American confederacies, European philosophers. But then there was John Adams, one of the founders who was kind of obsessed with Switzerland at this time. He studied their system, and he was amazed at how their militia worked, how they required everyone to have a gun and to have ammo, and they wouldn't let them get married unless they did. He wrote all about this in
no peasant or peasant, I think it's peasant, is allowed to marry without producing his arms and uniform. Dude, Swiss people are gone crazy. They're crazy.
Like a treatise on different government systems right before he wrote the Constitution with his fellow co-founders. Switzerland was
That's
a model.
cool, man.
It was the republic that had resisted tyranny and been able to stay free in a Europe full of kings. And when it came time to write the actual Constitution, you can see that a militia was enshrined in the Constitution itself. In the Constitution, the role of the militia is to protect the government, to protect the country from invasion or insurrection. And then after the Constitution, it became time to draft that sacred list of the most fundamental rights that would ensure that the American project remained free and full of liberty. The first of these 10 amendments would be freedom of speech and of expression, assembly, religion, and the press. But right after that, they write the Second Amendment, and it's about the well-regulated militia being vital, being necessary for the security of a free country. So to have a militia, the people must have arms. They must have a right to have guns. So now,
and then people start saying that it's not the right to bear arms, it's the right to bear arms.
now you have the Constitution, the Bill of Rights and the Second Amendment, and then a few years later, the well-regulated militia idea got enshrined in law when one of the first Congresses passed a law that said that every man doesn't just have the right to have a gun, but is required to have a gun and ammo and must train to use it so that the president could call on its armed citizens as its mechanism for defense. This whole legal framework was very clearly like, yes, you can have guns, but only if you are ready to use them to defend our country from invasion or insurrection. And sure enough, George Washington had to actually use this. There was this rebellion in Pennsylvania over taxes, and George Washington called up his armed citizens to march and tamp down on these rebels. And it totally
that's sick!
worked. The militia system was working for this young nation to ensure its freedoms with an armed citizenry, something Switzerland had been doing for centuries. Guns started out as a symbol of collective security, as collective defense, armed citizens ready to stand up to defend the country. But needless to say, things kind of changed when it came to guns in America. So how we got from that to this is the next part of this video. And in my mind, it's the most interesting version of this story because it shows us how Switzerland and the United States diverged so severely from this militia culture. Okay.
And this is where a lot of people are saying this is propaganda. Is this propaganda? Chat, let's watch it. It doesn't matter if it is or isn't, but we can criticize it. Let's just watch it. I would like to.
Okay, but before we get to that, I want to show you more about Switzerland today.
We're allowed to watch things that we disagree with.
When a country sticks to an actual militia system as their primary tool for national defense. Okay.
Tradition. Here we go.
To better understand gun ownership in Switzerland, I visited a member of the Swiss Army.
Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Hey.
Can I see your gun?
Of course. I
Can I see your gun?
I want to play some. Where's Waldo? Where's the assault rifle?
Oh my gosh, I already see it. So you just have a gun in your corner here.
You want to carry it? Yeah, I want to carry it.
What's it?
So American.
Show me your gun, bro. For me, this is a giant gun. Like this is I don't handle guns. Like I held a gun like this for the first time like 2 days ago. For the very first time in my life. No.
And this guy is making a video about guns? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're allowed to, but I feel like you should be a little bit more knowledgeable. It's like me fucking writing a video about science without knowing anything about science.
Oh wait, yes, actually.
I'm an American.
Yeah, I was about to. That's very uncliche.
Yes. Switzerland still has a militia. Every able-bodied man in Switzerland is given a uniform and a gun and required to join the military.
So, and this is in the Constitution. It's written there that every male can be forced, not only forced to do military service, but also forced to make more. So instead of 21 weeks, I did 37 weeks. Wow. And in total, I have to do like 400.
If I lived within spitting distance of Russia, I would have a standing militia too. Yeah, last time I checked, I don't think Switzerland is within spitting distance, but, you know. Not sure why you said that!
50 days.
Up until the 90s, you would go to jail if you refused to do this. Now you just have to pay 3% of your income if you don't.
I was also very against the military, and I went reluctantly.
One of the first things you do in this initial training is you come to one of these clubs and you learn to shoot.
It was kind of scary, actually, because it's all like 18 to 20-year-old guys, and it's just like, oh yeah, we're gonna go to shoot this gun now. And it's like, here's ammunition, here's the rounds, and now you do what you learn.
After the recruits complete their training, they return back to their normal jobs, to their normal lives, but they keep their firearm with them in their home.
Another thing is, though, from my personal experience, Swiss education is insanely good. The education about guns and like having teachers and all this, they probably have really good information and resources. That's another freaking thing.
And then they're required to come to one of these private clubs every year to practice shooting.
Die Armeeangehörigen müssen jedes Jahr eigentlich so obligatorisch schießen und wir tun eigentlich mit dem Staat schaffen, oder?
It's called the obligatorisch. So it's obligatory or mandatory for people to shoot.
This is my shooting book. Every time I shoot, there is
Oh my god, they love these little books for everything. This is not just for shooting either. They're super, like, they love documents.
There is like a little report, somebody has to sign it. Of course, when you go shooting, you just take this out, but then it's just like...
Oh, we're out of snoozes? Okay.
And you go to the public transport, just like that.
You're just walking around on the train with your gun?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's actually similar to what the United States National Defense Strategy looked in like the 1800s, where every able-bodied man had a gun and was required to use it, required to be ready to defend the country from invasion or insurrection.
We lost our way, Chad. America needs to come back to Switzerland.
Able to fight
Swiss
if it would be
people.
necessary. Just to, you know, protect our country, and this, you know, self-defense thinking is part of our, you know, our people and from Switzerland.
What Switzerland doesn't have that we have in the United States is a Second Amendment, an articulated, unambiguous right to have guns. Instead, guns are articulated mostly as a duty to protect the country. And then, secondly, comes the privilege to use guns, to compete with them, to own guns, etc. For them, the duty came first.
We have a tradition of more of a liberty tradition, and there it's more of a responsibility tradition.
And it's also very patriotic. I don't know. I feel like America has completely lost its way, in my opinion. We have lost a lot of, like, everyone fucking hates America. Like, ask someone 50 years ago and they probably don't have, like, near the disparagement. We're very divided. And that's not what Switzerland is, man. Even if you're like a Swiss Frenchie, you're still Swiss at the end of the day, and that's what they like a lot.
Essentially, everybody has to go. So this is kind of like one thing that unifies a lot of the male population here. And it's just like, you can meet a guy, and if he's done military service as well, you can talk for hours and hours.
Yeah!
And this to me makes all the difference.
That's true.
These two different purposes of guns in society, whether they are a right for individuals or the duty of the collective, I think this is a major factor that divides these.
Men love to talk about things that they've gone through together. You fucking set up a guy from the military that's retired and a guy that's doing military right now, or they have an interest in guns and they can talk for hours. It's a really good way to bond and have a community. Yeah. Sorry, Alana, we dumb? No, it's not about being dumb. No. You're misunderstanding me. Trauma bonding? not even that. I just said that it would be like an ex-military guy and someone who's interested in guns. I didn't even say they both went to the military. I just think there's a lot more common ground that you could talk about. The trauma bonding, yeah, sure, but like I'm just talking about like shared experience.
Two gun cultures.
If you could describe Swiss shooting culture in 3 words, what would those words be?
Wettkampf, Kameradschaft, Tradition.
We lost that a long time
And
ago.
this is where it all clicked for me. I had thought that Switzerland's gun culture was the product of smart
And I need to go
laws
back
and
there,
gun
man.
policies. But being here, it was becoming clear that it was the militia system that was at the root of all of this. The requirement for every man to learn how to shoot as the main strategy for collective national defense. Turning guns into a symbol of community and celebration. The center of large festivals all over the country, where Swiss traditions are celebrated with firearms at the center. Like that teen shooting competition in Zurich. Or this important shooting festival that takes place at the foot of the Alps along a beautiful Swiss lake.
And you know what's funny is that, again, I have said this before, I didn't know this was a thing, and more like, if you're into it, you can find a place to do this. But if you're not into it, like, you're just letting people do what they want to do. It's a propaganda tradition. I wouldn't call it propaganda, bro. No, I would not call this propaganda. Again, as someone who lived there, I lived there for more than 5 years. I lived there for 7 years. As a child, I did not know about this, and it was not forced down my throat. I learned about the history, like the history of how Switzerland was formed and how it's important to, like, protect yourself and this and that. Like, sure, I guess you could call it propaganda, but tradition? Like, nobody's forcing you to do this.
The place where the founders of Switzerland formed their confederacy in 1291.
You have so many members of the community coming out and participating in them. You're going to have fun. The shooting is fun. They'll have music. After you're done shooting, you can have some beer or wine, and it's a family affair. And so they kept that alive.
Das Treffen dort, das untereinander mit sich zusammensehen und so weiter. Und da hat es alle. Von Arbeitern, von Angestellten bis zu Unternehmern, dort sind alle dort. Also es ist eine Gemeinschaft, oder?
Gemeinschaft.
Okay, we're at yet
I can
another
kind
gun
of understand him. He's got a little bit of a thick accent.
Once again, this gun club has a target that goes right over the top of a highway. I'm here to continue to learn what the deal is with Swiss gun culture and to see if I can get a better score than I did last time. Okay.
Wait, hold on. They actually have tunnels? I didn't see that they have tunnels! Oh, they might not have any accidents at all, period. Never mind then. I take that back what I said at the start, man. I didn't know they shoot through tunnels! That's way more safe than what I thought. I thought they were like off the hip, like boom, right over the fucking car kind of thing. Yeah. I didn't know. The guy literally said you have a tunnel so you don't see the cars. Yeah, I didn't understand. I thought it was like more like tunnels, like they are in a tunnel, and then I don't know. I just need more. I just need to pay attention more.
So this is the gun we're shooting at. Gonna give it a go here. Oh, there's a kick. There's a kick on this one.
Ooh.
Okay, here it goes.
Ba-boom!
Wow. Jeez. Okay.
Wow.
The sound like echoes through the valley.
Maybe I should go here and do like a video. I'll take Philly and we can go shooting.
Okay.
Or Pippa. Boom.
Beginner's luck continues. Wow.
That's a good shot.
Oh, here comes the score. My scorecard. Okay, what do we have here?
Also, only.
Swiss people are so nice too, by the way.
so gross eigentlich wie ein Fünfliber, wenn man will sagen.
It's the beginner's luck. Beginner's luck. This is my scorecard here. My moosh. What's it called? Moosh. I got the moosh. Yes, 300 meters away. They think that this bullet just traveled across the valley, over the cars, and hit a thing that's this big is pretty satisfying. So while I'm sitting here shooting bullseyes right below us, not only are there cars, but there's a guy just mowing the lawn. Like there's a guy mowing the lawn right there under the shooting range. This place is at once super buttoned up when it comes to guns and seemingly very relaxed, but it's not relaxed. As I visit these gun clubs, really good, it's striking how much these feel like a magnet for community, a gathering place for the community, a collective activity and competition that everyone in the community can enjoy. I'm so used to guns being associated with danger and division and politics and fear, but here it just has.
Well, that's called American propaganda, man. Again, I've said this story before. There were boomers who are alive today who tell stories in different states where they're in Texas in a big town like Austin or freaking Dallas, and they just brought their guns to school. Yeah, now it used to be different. Now it's all just like fucked. It's all fucked up.
Such a different feel than what I'm used to. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Thank you. This is really good.
Also, what kind of mental health problems does Switzerland have? I can't imagine it's very bad. Or at least not as bad as America. It's also not very diverse.
It's been a really enlightening experience visiting all these shooting ranges, and what it's taught me is that guns here in Switzerland are a totally different thing than they are in America. Like, they're a completely different symbol. They have a very different purpose. They have a very different meaning. And that's kind of surprising to me because remember that the United States was founded on a lot of the same paradigms as Switzerland when it came to having a militia and having firearms in society as a form of collective defense. So to understand how these two gun cultures so greatly diverged despite having similar roots, you have to understand what happens after the Constitution, after the Second Amendment.
I have the right to protect my family and myself.
What do you think about American gun culture? Like, what's the view? Bonkers.
Like the fact that everybody has a gun in America, it would make me feel uneasy. I'm used to being in the proximity of guns and a lot of guns.
But America's also massive, man. That's my counter argument. America is so fucking big. It is so different. You talk to someone from Washington and talk to someone from New York, and it's like completely different. There's like a lot of things they have in common, but like it's just a little bit different. And humans on a fundamental level don't like different. They don't. It's hard to come to an agreement on everything. Even Switzerland doesn't agree on everything. There's French Swiss, there's Italian Swiss, there's German Swiss, there's Central Swiss. There's the ones that live up in the mountains that people think are crazy, like mountain people. Yeah. And not everyone has guns in America either. That's actually a really good point.
I don't know how you guys do it.
And if he tries to take our guns, he can take them from our cold, dead hands.
There has been a shooting at a synagogue.
Get off of my porch right now.
Gun control, all it's going to do is take the guns out of people that obey the law.
3 people are killed in Jacksonville, Florida today after what appears to be a racially motivated hate crime.
Damn.
So after its independence, the US quickly learned that while a militia is great for defense, deterrence, and neutrality, it is not good for one thing: conquest. Beginning in the 19th century, the US expanded west very quickly. They fought other European colonists and Native Americans for their land. They would eventually fight each other in a civil war. These kinds of operations were too big for militias made up of everyday citizens. Instead, they needed to establish and fund a centralized, professional standing army. And this was just the beginning. By the time the 1900s rolled around, the US had grown into something that Switzerland never was, and probably never will be.
A massive fucking state of countries, essentially. Yeah.
Expansionist empire, using its sprawling permanent military to wield influence around the globe. By the middle of the century, it would become the largest and most powerful military to have ever existed.
An empire. Yes, that's a good word. Empire. Yeah!
Because the US had a huge standing army, it did away with a lot of the original laws requiring people to join the militia.
Oh, and another thing, I guess this is this is just a little bit of my opinion, but we do a lot of overseas wars in America. Let's just say that. Switzerland, last time I checked, they don't really send their militia overseas. I'm just saying. Are you now? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, we dabble in a little bit of outside wars.
Now, without a duty to form a militia to protect the country from invasion and insurrection like the Constitution said, they were left with just the second half of this amendment, the right to bear arms, and how it should not be infringed. Guns started to become more of a personal tool, a tool to pursue their American dream, to hunt, to protect their family, to exterminate.
It's more like the Rambo style. It's not like I'm going shooting at the target. You don't go shooting somewhere in the woods or in the forest. Just don't do that. You go.
What do you mean? Yes, you do. What do you mean? In Texas, they go shooting out. No offense. I'm sure this guy is really nice. Like, I've met a lot of nice Swiss people, but like, you don't know that. No, absolutely. I completely disagree. I know there's a lot of people in Texas that kill boars because they have to take care of what is it called? Or is he saying that in Switzerland? Oh, he's not. He's talking about Switzerland, not Texas. Oh, they don't hunt. Okay, I misunderstood what he said. I thought that he was saying that in America they don't go hunting. Okay, never mind. My mistake. Yeah, okay.
Go to a shooting range and you get part of the community, and then your goal is not just to, shoot wherever there is. So your goal is to get better. Yeah. And your goal is not just to shoot around.
Mm-hmm.
Guns continued to take on a more personal symbol in the 60s and 70s when more and more Americans were losing trust in their government. This was also right at the time when crime was skyrocketing in America. Without this duty for collective defense, guns
drugs.
became more...
And don't forget drugs. How big of a problem does Switzerland have with drugs? Probably not that much, I imagine.
More a symbol of personal defense from all of this crime,
drugs.
personal liberty, and a symbol of this growing anti-government sentiment. And as a result, the number of guns in America soared. The NRA, which, remember, after the Civil War started as a largely non-political group that was meant to just help Americans be more responsible and better marksmen, they got taken over in the 70s by a group of hardliners who wanted to change the agenda of the NRA, turning it into a political lobbying group that was set on reshaping the way Americans thought about the Second Amendment and making sure that no legislation ever made it through that curtailed gun rights. They began pushing an interpretation of the Second Amendment that
There's nothing more American than lobbying. Lobbying is what Americans taught every other country. There's lobbying everywhere, but it's been a thing since the dawn of time in America. Since the dawn of America, or at least like later on, a couple hundred years. Classic lobbying.
Was about individual protection, a right to bear arms so that you can protect yourself, and trying to de-emphasize the connection to a well-regulated militia as the purpose for this right to bear arms.
In the face of this relentless onslaught of gun control schemes, you're the reason the Second Amendment still stands. You're the tip of the spear.
You're the ones that make it possible for us every day.
If you think lobbying started with the US, you're missing a few thousand years of European history. Counter argument. USA perfected lobbying and exported it to everyone else, to the perfected lobbying system, and made it worse for everyone else. Yeah, I know there has been lobbying since like the dawn of time, but America definitely made it like into a really, really big, modernized it. That's a good word. Mm-hmm.
To defend this freedom.
And it totally worked. The Second Amendment became more and more a guarantee that everyone can have guns to protect themselves and their family, having nothing to do with protecting the country. After all, we had the biggest military in the world. We didn't need a militia anymore.
Don't let Hillary leave you protected with nothing but a phone. The NRA political victory. From the is responsible for the content of this advertising.
This interpretation of guns and the Second Amendment would become solidified in a 5-4 vote in the Supreme Court in 2008, when the court ruled that the Second Amendment guaranteed people to have guns, even when those guns have no relationship to an armed militia. So this is why the United States has more guns than any country on earth, because the courts have ruled that guns are an individual right, a right to bear arms. Every year, 20,000 murders occur with a gun. Thousands of children and teens are killed with a gun. Hundreds of deaths are caused by gun accidents. Hundreds of mass shootings. And of course, the leading cause of gun violence, suicides. Tens of thousands of lives.
Okay, the only thing that he said so far that I completely agree with. Where's the drug related? No, I totally understand. I do. These are actual statistics. However, where's the drug related? Suicide by gun. There's a massive mental health crisis. There's no community. You're putting up all these big statistics and being like, guns bad in America. It's like, well, yeah, it's also a massive country. It's also not Switzerland, where it's very homogenous. We have so many problems and so much division. It's very, very sad. Yeah, there's like gang shit. There's mass shootings. Like, it's sad, man.
Lives taken with guns. But we can't seem to do much about it, because as long as guns remain an individual right, now deeply woven into American identity, any effort to try to pass reasonable laws to try to limit these countless deaths that we have in our country will...
But we had that individual right. When did this happen? When did this court case happen? Chad, do you remember what he said? But 2008? Yeah, I don't know, man. Hell, it was 2008. Yeah, there was. Didn't the Columbine shooting happen in 1992? Yeah, I don't know. 1999. Okay, there you go. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I don't know. There's been stuff happening for a long time, man.
Continue to fail.
Mental
especially
health,
as
too.
the NRA continues to politicize guns, to use them to divide America, to scare America, and to make us feel like we need guns to be safe.
The facts are on our side. Guns save lives. And you'll never stop us from defending our families.
My last visit was an important one, to this gun shop
They
where
played
the owner
video games
is
for the
Swiss, but is a
Columbine shit,
card-carrying
too.
member of the NRA and a big fan of American gun culture. I had to get his take on this.
These are the best assault rifles in the world.
Really?
These are, yes.
Wow. What makes them so good? Why are they so good?
They're Swiss made. Any question?
No joke, Swiss-made stuff is crazy good. I'm pretty sure I still have a Swiss watch somewhere that still works if I replace the battery. And it's like 20 years old. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 15 years old, I think. Yeah.
What do you feel when you look at American gun culture?
It's very, very interesting. From the gun system, from the gun laws, I would like to live in the States, but not with all the dumb asses around. I don't know.
Poor education system. He nailed it too. Very poor education.
Why there are so many deaths, accidents with firearms.
Yeah.
And here, nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Why are the US citizens so stupid and let a loaded firearm there on the table with kids 1, 2, 3.
Our education system is so fucked, man. So, look, I'm gonna say it. I think in Switzerland there are still stupid people, but at least those stupid people are educated. Chat, there's a big difference between being a dumbass, like this guy is saying, and being a dumbass who has been educated. That's what I want. I can live with dumbasses, but like you can be wrong and still be a big dum-dum, but it's just like the entire thing is like education, man. Why education when guns? No, you're not understanding. They have guns in Switzerland and they start teaching at an early age at like 13, 14, maybe even 12. They start doing this. But it's just different because if you're starting from an early age and the entire populace is like this, it's easier to not control. I said not control is the wrong word. Man, the word's escaping me. But like, yeah, educated stupid is better than the stupid because at least the educated stupid can sometimes think for themselves into some capacity, or at least like understand. Like, wanna know a fun fact? My mom had to disassemble for her exam in Russia, had to disassemble a gun in front of 3 professors. For school. She had to do that. Yeah. She knew how to do this. She said they set you up with a table and they have like a cloth cover and they ask you to like assemble it within like 12 minutes or something. I don't remember. I'm like extrapolating. It was like within a certain amount of time. How quickly? I don't remember, chat. I genuinely don't. But she passed. But the point is they make you do that.
3 years old. I don't know why. You need some rules. Some.
Yeah.
You know, our government, they support shooting clubs.
Yeah.
They do support ammo. They support shooting ranges.
Yeah.
They support the guys who are going to a shooting range. You need rules.
Yeah.
You need to have it.
Yeah.
Well, we have rules. It's just that like other people also don't hold each other accountable. In America, people are so dissociated and so they just don't care about each other. They don't. Or at least not a lot of people do. It's very sad. Yeah, it's divided. That's another word as well.
So, here's my conclusion in all of this. I went into this story thinking that I was going to tell a policy story, like how different policies would affect gun culture. And it totally took a different route because I learned sort of...
And again, there's no tribalism in Switzerland. It's all just like patriotism towards one like society or way of tradition. As long as you are accepting and yeah, it's like one tribe against everyone. Yeah. We used to have that? Yeah, absolutely. Мне кажется, что с оружием, что без него будет все то же самое. That's another good point. What if America took away, chat, honest questions, if you took away all the guns in America, just like took them away, what do you think would happen? Would people just stop killing each other? I don't think so. People really fucking hate each other. I've heard of people saying, I will fucking throw stones at you. I will stab you to death. No. We would make our own guns. No. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about, like, if you just took them all away, there's no guns. They don't exist, period. Like, there's no way of making them. Like, just magic. You would either knife people, you would kill them with your hands, like... I think it's a societal problem. I really, really hope for the best one day that, like, everyone can just kind of, like, get along and, like, live together. It's very sad. I really did appreciate my time in Switzerland because, like, I never felt unsafe at any point in my life. They're talking about, UK is talking about banning knives now? Yeah. Machetes, knives, fists, baseball bats. Yep. And if people want to hurt them, they will find any means, man. They'll strangle you in your sleep if they want to, man.
Halfway through that guns are a symbol. They are a symbol. Yes, they're a weapon. Yes, they are a sports tool, but they are also a symbol for the people who wield them. The way we see guns is deeply influenced by the stories and the myths of our societies. Switzerland and the United States have two very different stories, and because of that, they have two very different gun cultures. For Switzerland, having armed citizens who were trained with weapons is what kept them neutral and safe as a group, as a collective. The United States admired this and tried to copy it, and they did for a while. But soon, the demands of an expanding empire allowed that vision to fade and turned the meaning of guns into something different, making it a right for individuals to protect themselves. Most guns in America are not used to protect people. That's not what they're used for. They're often used at a shooting range or hunting or to end someone's life.
Okay, this is phrased so poorly, but I'll interject here for a moment. If you live in a state like Montana, Alaska, Massachusetts, what other places have a lot of wildlife? Like Texas. I feel like hunting is not a bad thing. I don't know why he specifically chose to phrase his words in this way to say that hunting is as bad as murder. I don't think it. Yeah, Wyoming, New Hampshire, Minnesota. That's a good one. Wyoming. Yeah. I think that hunting culture is actually really big in America. I don't think there's not a bad culture to it. Yeah, I don't know. Because it's propaganda. Guys, I know it's a little bit biased, but you know, we're just talking here.
And yet to the people
we don't have to agree
who
on
hold
anything,
fast to their firearms as a right, they feel like any change to that, any legislation to change or to limit those guns is a taking away of their right. So the way I see it, as long as guns are an individual right associated with personal protection and personal liberty, not a lot's going to change in America. We certainly don't stand a chance of having a culture anything like what we've seen here in Switzerland. And that's a shame to me. That's a shame.
I don't know, man. No, that was a nice video. I can appreciate it for what it is. Someone said you're getting too defensive. Hold on. What's going on? You guys are getting defensive? No one's getting defensive. I just don't think if you're...
Hey, before you go, I need to tell you one last thing, which is that...
If you're going to phrase at the last conclusion of the last minute of your video and then saying hunting, murder, and what was it? The last one? Hunting, murder, and the last thing, and protection is all in the same sentence. There wasn't even protection. Yeah, it's just the ending there kind of was weird. Not gonna lie. Shooting range, yeah. And the last thing, I don't know, sport, I guess. I mean, they're doing it for sport in Switzerland. Sport as in, like, they're shooting to keep themselves practiced.
We made probably our last batch of the poster that I designed last year. It's a poster called All Maps Are Wrong, and I'm very proud of it. It shows all the ways that you can take our Earth and project it onto a 2D plane, which always comes with some distortion. Anyway, it's kind of a nerdy map lover thing, and if you're into that, you should go over and check it out before they're all gone. This is probably going to be our last batch, so get them while they last, and the link's in the description.
No. You can hunt in Switzerland. It's very regulated, though. Yeah. There's definitely some takeaways here. Oh, that was good! I like that video. We got to talk. Also, bang bang, fuck you.